Order 66 is one of the darkest moments in all of Star Wars. It's where Palpatine finally enacts his master plan, commanding his clone troopers to turn against the Jedi, executing their former comrades in a hail of blaster fire, and it's just very emotional. But not all Jedi were killed during this tragic event. So I'm Ewan, you're watching What Culture Star Wars, and here's what happened to every Jedi that survived Order 66. Number 18. Yoda. Starting with the most legendary of all Jedi, Yoda was leading his men in the Battle of Kashyyyk when Order 66 was given. Clone Commander Gree attempted to kill the Jedi Master, drawing the short straw, but Yoda had already sensed what was happening through the Force and managed to escape alive, retiring to the swampy planet of Dagobah after he failed to kill the Emperor on Coruscant. As his twilight years dawned on him, Yoda was approached by Luke Skywalker, who wanted training in the ways of the Force. Yoda helped the young rebel, hoping he would continue the Jedi tradition. When Luke returned to Dagobah a year later, Yoda confirmed that Darth Vader was in fact Anakin Skywalker, Luke's father. He died peacefully at Luke's side. Number 17. Ahsoka Tano. During the majority of the Clone Wars, Ahsoka Tano was Padawan to Anakin Skywalker. She left the Jedi Order just before Order 66 was given after the whole framing by her best friend thing, and when it was executed, Ahsoka managed to flee from her fate with clone Captain Rex during the Siege of Mandalore. The two friends were separated and the former Jedi went first into hiding on Thabasca, then on the moon Rada. When Rada was overrun by the Empire, Ahsoka fled and joined Bail Organa's Rebel Alliance as one of its earliest members. She took the codename Fulcrum and became leader of an intelligence network, supplying information to Rebel cells all throughout the galaxy. She became particularly close to the crew of the Ghost, which included Kanan Jarrus and his new Padawan, Ezra Bridger. Ahsoka joined Kanan and Ezra in their venture to Malachor, an ancient Sith homeworld where she came face to face with Darth Vader and learned his true identity. She was believed killed in the ensuing duel after the destruction of Malachor's Sith Temple, but she was in fact rescued by a future Ezra thanks to the World Between Worlds. After the Battle of Endor, she headed back into the galaxy to look for Ezra, who was missing in action at the end of Star Wars Rebels. She also came into contact with Din Djarin and Grogu during the events of The Mandalorian Season 2, where she continues her hunt for Grand Admiral Thrawn. Number 16. Caleb Dume / Kanan Jarrus. Caleb Dume was a Jedi Knight during the Clone Wars and Padawan learner to Master Depa Billaba. When Order 66 was executed and the Jedi began to fall, Billaba sacrificed herself to save her apprentice, and Caleb was able to escape his fate. On the run, he renounced the Jedi way, stopped using his lightsaber, and took to using a blaster instead. Changing his name to Kanan Jarrus, the former Jedi spent a great length of time moving from place to place, but his journey came to an end when he met Rebel Twi'lek Hera Syndulla and the crew of the Ghost. During his time with the new group, Kanan met Ezra Bridger, a young boy with a then rare connection to the Force, and agreed to train him in the ways of the Jedi. During a mission to Malachor, Kanan was blinded by Maul, the former Sith Lord. Though his friend Ahsoka Tano was lost on Malachor, Kanan and Ezra managed to escape, and Kanan came to be able to use the Force to see his surroundings. Sadly, during a daring mission to rescue his beloved Hera, Kanan sacrificed himself, holding off an explosion long enough for the others to escape. It's really sad. Number 15. Jocasta Nu. On the Jedi Council before the Clone Wars, Jocasta Nu spent the conflict as the chief librarian of the Jedi Archives, protecting the knowledge and the history of the Force with her life. She survived Order 66 at first, going into hiding in hopes of preserving all she could about the Jedi Order's legacy. Now hidden, she began creating new holocrons and collecting all the information she could find in an attempt to start a new Jedi school. The Grand Inquisitor was given the job of hunting her down once it was determined that she was still alive, as Darth Sidious believed she held vital information to the future of the Empire. It was Nu's sense of honor to the Jedi that ended her life, however. Realizing a valuable holocron had been left on Coruscant, she made a daring venture back to her old home. The Grand Inquisitor confronted the former librarian in the old library itself, and the two dueled. Though Nu was beaten in the fight, she was briefly spared by Darth Vader, who wanted her alive. Nu used this moment to flee, but as she tried to flee with the important information, Vader caught her, retrieved said information, and killed her. Number 14. Luminara Unduli. Luminara Unduli was a Jedi Master and one of the Jedi Order's best warriors. When Order 66 was executed, she was fighting on Kashyyyk with her men, not too far from where Yoda was originally stationed. She evaded the initial attack, though for years it was believed she had perished on the Wookiee homeworld. In truth, though, Unduli had been captured by the Empire and imprisoned in a prison known as the Spire. She spent the rest of her life there, which ended up being not a long time at all. She was killed within a year of Order 66 in her cell by the Grand Inquisitor. Unfortunately, Unduli's story did not end with her death. Her body was used to lure other Jedi survivors into a trap, Jedi who had heard she was alive and wanted to seek her out. Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger were almost foiled by this trap too, but managed to escape with the knowledge that Luminara Unduli was truly dead. Number 13. Oppo Rancisis and Coleman Kaj. In the vast Star Wars canon, the final fate of these two Jedi Masters is still in the air. Both serving on the Jedi Council during the Clone Wars, both Oppo Rancisis and Coleman Kaj saw a great number of battles, deaths, and revelations. A comic released as a part of the Star Wars Obsession series revealed that Rancisis died in a battle with a group of assassins on the planet Saleucami, but after George Lucas changed the official canon of the franchise, this is not the Jedi Masters agreed upon end. As for Coleman Kaj, he was last seen in the council meeting agreeing that Obi-Wan Kenobi should go to Utapau to destroy General Grievous. Both Jedi Masters were mentioned in a 2018 comic titled Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith. In the series' 19th issue, both of their names can be seen, listed by the Inquisitors as one of the few survivors of the Jedi Purge. Number 12. Quinlan Vos. Jedi Knight Quinlan Vos is another Jedi whose official fate is not officially known. He too can be seen on the list of Jedi Purge survivors compiled by the Empire, but after that, not much is known what became of him. The last thing we know about Vos is that he was tasked to take on a daring assassination attempt against Count Dooku, which takes place during the superb Dark Disciple novel, which you should all go read. Teaming up with Dooku's former apprentice, Asajj Ventress, Vos went ahead with the mission, but things did not go according to plan. He came onto the trail of Dooku's secret master, Darth Sidious, but in his investigation, he was tortured and succumbed to the dark side. Brought back by his love for Ventress, he teamed up with his beloved to kill Dooku once and for all, but Ventress died, saving Vos, and Dooku escaped. Back with the Jedi Order, Vos was last seen on Kashyyyk, leading his men into battle. After the rise of the Empire, he was mentioned by other Jedi escapees to have survived the initial Order. As he rebuilt the Order after the fall of the Empire, Luke Skywalker's book The Secrets of the Jedi made reference to Vos having survived the Purge entirely. However, what he got up to during this time is not currently known. Number 11. Cere Junda. Cere Junda first appeared in the game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and her story will be continued with its sequel. Once a Jedi Padawan under Master Eno Cordova, Cere Junda was given the rank of Jedi Knight just before the execution of Order 66, taking on a Padawan, Trilla Suduri. When the Jedi Purge began, both Junda and Trilla managed to escape their clone attackers, with several Jedi younglings in tow. Their escape was short-lived, however, and Junda was captured and tortured by the Inquisitors. She held out as long as she could, but eventually broke and gave up her Padawan. Trilla was then taken, tortured, and turned to the dark side of the Force. In a rage, Junda killed her tormentors and went into hiding, severing her ties to the Force. After years of hiding, Junda came across a Jedi fugitive called Cal Kestis, who was fleeing from the Inquisitors. At first unsure how to proceed, Junda agreed to help Kestis with his training after learning of a lost holocron which contained the names of numerous Force-sensitive children hidden across the galaxy. During the mission, she came face to face with both Vader and her old Padawan, and she and Kestis only just managed to escape. Number 10. Taran Malicos. Once a respected Jedi Master during the Clone Wars, Taran Malicos was known as a great tactician and motivator. When Order 66 passed, he was able to escape his clone attackers on a ship and crash-landed on the planet Dathomir, where he succumbed to the dark side of the Force and killed the leader of the Night Brothers, Viscus. After this fateful event, Malicos took over control of the Night Brothers and attempted to manipulate the last Knight's sister Merrin, in hope of learning more about her power. He also came to be scarred by the Night Brothers who tried to overthrow him, but mostly he was respected for his power and was left to rule with fear. 5 years after the fall of the Jedi, he met a Jedi Padawan called Cal Kestis, who he tried to manipulate into joining the dark side. Knowing Malicos was a danger, Kestis teamed up with Merrin to destroy him, and in a duel the former master was buried below an ancient tomb and defeated. Number 9. Cal Kestis. Cal Kestis first appeared in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order alongside Cere Junda and Taran Malicos. A young Padawan when the Purge began, Cal's master, Jaro Tapal, was killed by the clones once in their service. For 5 years, Kestis went into hiding, evading the Empire before settling on Bracca. After saving an Abednedo friend by using the Force, Kestis came to the attention of the Inquisitors and was forced to become a fugitive, resisting the Empire's rule and officially reconnecting with the Force in hopes of rebuilding the Jedi Order. As he fled, he came into contact with the crew of the Mantis, including former Jedi Knight Cere Junda and its captain, Grease Dritus, who had a really big crush on Yaddle, that needs to be said. Kestis came face to face with both Darth Vader and the Inquisitors, and although he and Junda were able to escape, they destroyed the Force holocron to ensure the Empire couldn't use it to kill more innocents. Number 8. Eth Koth. Eth Koth was a Jedi Master and a member of the Jedi Council during the Clone Wars. When Order 66 was executed, he had been replaced by Jedi Master Ajan Kolar and had left the Jedi Order entirely. With no affiliation to the Order whatsoever, he was able to hide from the Empire fairly well. In his exile, he became a priest in the Church of Ganthic Enlightenment, a religious organization in place to bring peace to people during Imperial rule. He also had a child and married a woman called Mira. However, his newfound happiness was short-lived. Hunted across the galaxy, Darth Vader and the Inquisitors found Koth soon after his child's birth. Koth tried to bargain with the Sith Lord, even offering to help find the Jedi who survived the Purge, but it was to no avail. In the ensuing duel, Koth used the anger he felt for the Empire to hold off Vader as his family escaped. He fought well, but was ultimately killed when he witnessed his daughter kidnapped by the Inquisitors. Vader took his daughter back to the Emperor to be used in Project Harvester, an operation run by the Inquisitors to turn Force-sensitive children into Imperial agents. Number 7. Ferren Barr. During the Clone Wars, Ferren Barr was a Jedi Padawan and known friend of Anakin Skywalker. After the infamous order was given, beginning the Jedi Purge, Barr went into hiding and began to investigate how the Sith were able to decimate the Jedi Order so swiftly, bringing him face to face with Order 66 and the roles that Count Dooku, Chancellor Palpatine, and Anakin Skywalker all played. Knowing that Vader was in fact his old ally, Barr recruited acolytes to his cause, going against the Empire, and journeyed with them to the ocean planet Mon Cala, believing he could start a vast rebel army on numerous planets. Becoming an advisor to King Li Cha, Barr encouraged the Mon Calamari people to openly defy the Empire. Able to sense the future, Barr could see the coming attack on Mon Cala and set up a defense on the planet. However, Vader had already learned of Barr's involvement with the Mon Calamari and led the planet's assault himself. As with many Jedi before him, Barr went head-to-head with Vader in hopes of defeating him, but it was of no use. The Dark Lord killed him in the duel. Barr died believing he had started a rebellion strong enough to rise up and destroy the Empire, but after he fell, Li Cha was imprisoned and the Mon Calamari surrendered. Number 6. Nuhmed. Nuhmed is a Star Wars character who deserves much more backstory and fanfare. A Jedi Padawan before the start of the Clone Wars, he left the Order years before the execution of Order 66. When he learned of the rise of the Empire, he believed Palpatine's reports that the Jedi were plotting an uprising and stayed hidden. However, his presence was eventually felt by the Grand Inquisitor, who tracked him down. The two warriors dueled, and Med was able to summon enough strength to destroy the Inquisitor's lightsaber and win the duel. Although the Grand Inquisitor managed to survive the skirmish, so did Med. He died some 30 years after the fall of the Empire and passed knowing that he had been able to protect his family. After his death, his grandson, Ka Nug Sin, took Med's robes and Jedi possessions with the hope of telling future generations about the mythic Force wielders. Sin's story can be read in the novel Force Collector, and I would thoroughly recommend it. Number 5. Kirak Infil'a. As noted in the comic which he first appears in, Kirak Infil'a is a very unique Jedi. A Jedi Master, Infil'a left the Order before the rise of the Empire and took the Barash Vow, an oath which cut him off from Order affairs. He relocated to a Jedi monastery in hopes of finding his true path in life. Up until then, he had specialized in combat and had come to believe that his only purpose was to be a warrior. He was savage, clever, and very strong. Darth Vader found where Infil'a was hiding and arrived arrive with the intention of killing him. As the two dueled, Infil'a proved to be a worthy opponent and badly wounded the Sith Lord, force pushing him off a cliff. Assuming Vader was dead, Infil'a traveled away from the monastery to repair his ship. Whilst in the city of Ambalar, he found that Vader had followed him. Once more, the Jedi Master proved a vicious adversary and might have beaten the Sith Lord had Vader not resorted to dirty tricks. Infil'a abandoned the duel and tried to save the innocent officers that Vader had targeted, but Vader then took the moment to choke him to death. He broke the dam, flooding the city, and left victorious. Number 4. Zubain and Kenori, Masuziel, Kandra, and Nuj. Zubain and Kenori was a Jedi Master when Order 66 was passed. As the Jedi in the galaxy were decimated, Kenori managed to escape to a Jedi shrine on the planet Anawat. He hid there with 3 other knights, Masuziel, Kandra, and Nuj. Discovered eventually by the Inquisitors, the Jedi were forced to flee. Masuziel was killed trying to buy time for the others to escape, and the Inquisitors tracked them once more to the planet of Matau. There, Kenori dueled their pursuing Imperial agents so the others would once more escape. In the duel, Kenori was overpowered and slain, but he didn't die in vain, as his comrades managed to get away at least for a time. Both Kandra and Nuj were hunted once more, but both were ultimately killed and their lightsabers and belongings were sealed away in an Imperial vault. Number 3. Uvel. Master Uvel was a Jedi who managed to escape the initial onslaught of Order 66. Hiding from the clones who were now hunting him, Uvel feared that the Jedi artifacts would be destroyed along with the Order, and decided to try and save some of the Jedi Order's history before the Empire could wipe it out. Moving quickly, he collected numerous lightsabers, scrolls, and ancient relics, and went to known Jedi ally and antiquities dealer Anton Bach in hopes that he could keep them safe. Bach promised he would and told the Jedi Master to go into hiding whilst he still could. Uvel agreed and went into exile. After that, though, his fate is not known, and writer Alexander Freed has confirmed that whilst Uvel did survive Order 66, he doesn't know how long he lasted. Number 2. The Inquisitors. Led by Darth Vader, the Inquisitors were all Dark Jedi who were once loyal to the light side of the Force. The second sister, for instance, was Trilla Siduri, former Padawan of Cere Junda. The seventh sister and eighth brother were also fallen Jedi who had succumbed to the dark side after the rise of the Empire. Both were killed by Maul, who they were hunting at the time. As for the leader of the agents, the Grand Inquisitor was revealed in Star Wars Rebels to be a former Jedi Temple Guard who had fallen to the dark side with the execution of Order 66. He later perished in a duel with Kanan Jarrus, letting himself die in order to avoid Vader's wrath for failing. And number 1. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi was a Jedi Master during the Clone Wars and the Master of Anakin Skywalker. With Yoda, Obi-Wan is the most recognizable Jedi survival story of them all, and also the best character in all of Star Wars history, but you know, he's my fave, so I might be slightly biased. When Order 66 was executed, Obi-Wan traveled to Mustafar and confronted his old friend, and in the following duel, Vader was defeated and left to burn. Unfortunately, Vader did not die and became Vader in all his armored glory. Obi-Wan took Anakin's son, Luke, to Owen Lars's place on Tatooine, where he too stayed so he could protect him. When Luke was old enough, Obi-Wan began to train him and helped him take on the Empire. During this time, Obi-Wan came face to face with Vader once more, and died giving his new apprentice the chance to escape. We already know some of what Obi-Wan got up to in between episodes 3 and 4, but it will be explored in greater detail in his upcoming TV show, which I am so excited for.